what's up? I hope you are doing awesome today. So today's video is kind of a tough one for me. We are going to be talking about why I decided to not become a helicopter pilot. And if you've seen my other videos, you've probably heard that being a pilot is something I've wanted since high school. It's something I have tried to pursue a couple times in the past, and it just really hasn't worked out. So this time I had signed up for student loans. I had quit my job. I took out a line of credit from my bank to cover my living expenses throughout school, and I was studying for school. I was getting really excited for it. And then over the Christmas break, I just kind of had these overwhelming doubts. And if you're like me, I can really get in my head sometimes and convince myself one way or another, no matter what it is. So I decided to take a good chunk of time to really research every single one of those doubts and try to put them at rest and try to just convince myself this was the right decision after all. So the first reason is financial, and this is probably the most obvious one. For those of you who know how much it is to become a pilot, you know that being financially stable is absolutely crucial to be able to even pursue this as a career. My student loan was $60,000 and I'd taken out $10,000 in a line of credit from my bank. And it's not the fact that school costs $70,000, it's everything that comes after that. So once you're done school, the first job you're gonna get is probably gonna pay $15 an hour. Yeah, you heard me right, $15 an hour, 1-5. So you're essentially spending $70,000 in school to make just over minimum wage. And I knew that this was the reality because I had been looking for jobs just to see what the climate was like and how much they paid. And I kind of figured, okay, $15 an hour, I'm gonna have a $60,000 student loan, I have 2 mortgages, I'm currently helping my mom out financially, plus everything else. And I thought, okay, I could do it for a year. I have enough money in the bank, so to speak, that I could make it happen. And this leads me into the second point, which is future prospects. So with $15 an hour, hey, for the first year, maybe that's okay. But as it turns out, to get a decent job where you're making like $70,000 to $80,000 a year, you have to have like 1,000 hours, 1,000 flight hours. And school will get me 100. A lot of the jobs that do hire low-time pilots are kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you really have to pick up your entire life and move there in order to build up those hours. So I did some research on the growth in the industry in Alberta specifically, and it said it was about 1.5% over the next 5 years, like 1.5% every year for 5 years. So that equated to about 56 new jobs every year for helicopter pilots. And the school that I was going to go to has 12 graduates every 4 months. And that's just one of many helicopter schools. So I figured I would really have to throw my entire life at this in order to make myself successful. Point number 3 is job lifestyle. So like I mentioned before, as a low-time pilot, sometimes you have to move into the middle of nowhere to get a job. I definitely glamorize the idea of being at home every night as a helicopter pilot and being able to work within the city that I live in. This is obviously possible, but you have to have quite a lot of hours to get those jobs. And because those jobs are so coveted, because you get to go home every night, the turnover really is not that high. So the opportunity to actually get one of those jobs is quite low. And I'm a city person, so I have no desire to move to a small town or realistically to even move out of the city that I live in right now. I've already laid roots here. I own 2 properties here. My mom lives here, and I kind of have built an entire life in the city. I have no real desire to leave this area long term. And I kind of feel like if I wanted to do that, if I wanted to have that kind of lifestyle of moving around, I would just join the military. And that is something I thought about in high school when I was thinking about pursuing this as a career, was to join the military and just go about it that way, because they essentially pay for everything and you have to pay them back in years of service. So I, at the time, didn't want that lifestyle, and I absolutely don't want it now. Another thing with lifestyle is that because I'll only be making $15 an hour for the first year to 5 years, is that I have to give up a lot in order to do that. It means no traveling. It means no discretionary spending, no going out to eat, no experiences, no going out to concerts or hockey games or anything like that. And this leads me right into point number 4, which is I might have to give up age 30 to 35 in order to make this a career. And I feel like at the age I am at right now, and especially in the next few years, I really need to be taking advantage of my young years. And even though I'm 30, I'm definitely still in the phase where I have a lot of energy. I want to go out and do things and explore, travel, see the world, and meet new people. So in the future, kids are not part of my plan. So that is not ever going to be an issue for me. But I do kind of want to get a dog at some point and potentially buy a detached home. So once I do things like that, I won't be able to travel as freely as I am right now. And I think I'm in a really good position at this point to be able to kind of drop everything and just go and travel and see the world. And, you know, I'm basically at this point just waiting for COVID to like get out of here so that I can actually plan some of these bigger trips. I feel like there's way too many things in life that I would have to give up in the next few years in order to make this a career. And there are other ways that I can have this pilot thing in my life. So I have decided that I'm going to look for a new career. I'm not really sure what it's going to be yet. I've decided that I'm going to set aside money to become a private pilot, and that is on the fixed wing side. So getting a private pilot's license as a fixed wing pilot is about $10,000 to $11,000 in Calgary. And to become a private helicopter pilot, it's like $30,000. So it just seems like the logical transition to get my private license so that I can still fly, I can still be in the aviation world and be able to take my friends and family up and fly and go on trips, fly to destinations. I always thought that that would be the coolest part of being a pilot. I have decided that I am going to go back into the grind, into the working world to be able to have this as a really awesome hobby. Expensive, but really cool. And I'm kind of in limbo right now, so I don't really know what the future holds for me. But if you guys want to check out my January 2022 update video, I will go a little more in depth about what my future plans are. But what this does mean is that I am jumping right back into fire. I'm going hard at fire, you guys. I'm gonna like getting into it like I did when I first found it. I want to be jumping in. I want to do all the math, make sure that I'm on the right path so that I can lean fire with $500,000 at 50, which was my original plan. I'm already at Coast Fire, so I'm totally ready to jump back into this. Build the life outside. That's, you know, the whole thing is building the life outside of work. Yeah, I'm kind of excited, you guys. I'm kind of excited to like be jumping back into fire and to be totally open. Like I feel very free right now. You know, like the world is my oyster. Like I don't know what's coming, but I'm like ready for it. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I always appreciate any of the comments that you guys leave me down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.